Hey guys, so let's talk about the anatomy of a recipe. What are the parts of a recipe? How do we read a recipe? And then we're going to dive in and do a little bit of work with a recipe. Okay, so if you look on the left side of this document, the anatomy of a recipe, let's go through it. So the first thing that you should do when you're approaching a new recipe is to read the entire recipe. This is probably the most skipped step, and it's absolutely the most important step. When you read the recipe, you will begin to understand what ingredients you need, how you're going to prepare the dish. You can literally like visualize in your head, what am I doing? How does this come together? What ingredients go together? And then it allows you to kind of, envision the final product and know what you're creating and how it should come out. The recipe will also give you some hints and directions that you're going to need to know. And you will often need to know them in advance, so it's super important that you read all the way through. Okay, it really stinks if you are, let's say you're cooking something over heat, and you realize, oh crap, I was supposed to chop onion. Well, you might have butter or oil or food that's burning on the stove while you have to stop, get out your knife and cutting board, and chop your onion. Okay, so step one of what we're going to do today is read the recipe. Step two, we know that there are two parts of a recipe. We have ingredients at the top, which is always in a list form, and then we have directions underneath. And sometimes they're step by step, like number one, do this. Number two, sometimes it's more of a narrative style where it looks like a paragraph. Okay. All right. So for today, we're going to do a little bit of practice. I've already done some of it for you, but I'm going to do some of it with you to make sure you understand how to use this Google Doc. So it says, for example, there are two parts of a recipe. Number two, highlight the list of ingredients and change the font color to orange. Okay, so I'm going to highlight my ingredients. Oh, whoops, oopsie daisy. Okay, so I'm going to highlight my ingredients. And then if I want to change the font color, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up on this little toolbar right here. I'm going to look for the A, that's the font, and that's my text color. So it says to turn it orange. I've already done this, but I'm going to go ahead and pick this orange. I'm going to change the shade slightly. Click it. Everything that's highlighted is now that color. Okay. Next, it says highlight the step-by-step directions and change the font color to dark blue. You can also see that I've already done that. So I'm going to highlight it all. And let's go back to the A because we're changing the font color to dark blue. I'm going to pick this blue. Okay, we can see the change. All right, so now we drop down, it says ingredients contain amounts and special things, special notes. So the ingredients are listed in the order that they are used. That is standard. It doesn't always happen, but a good recipe, a recipe that's published in a book, things like that, it's going to be listed in the order that it's used. Okay, so what I'm asking you to do is highlight the ingredients in light green and then highlight the amounts in light yellow. So ingredients are the foods: egg, apple juice, vegetable oil, vanilla, flour, sugar, brown sugar, etc. So baking powder, okay, I highlighted it, and it says highlight with light green. So up here where you change the font color with the A, if you go next door, you'll see what looks like a highlighter. Click on it. And then let's highlight, it says what, light green? Okay, so there is a light green. Click and applied, highlighted. So you'll do that to the rest. So B, highlight the amount in yellow. So let's go here to the 1 tablespoon. Okay, I'm gonna stick with the baking powder. I highlighted it, and then I'm gonna go back up to my highlighter. I'm going to click, let's choose this light yellow right here. Okay, C, 3C. Underline any special notes using the underline button. Well, when I went through this recipe, the only thing that really stuck out to me is like, oh, gotta know that, was this on the medium apple, peeled and chopped. The apple needs to be peeled and it needs to be chopped. Okay, so I did that. I just simply highlighted the text and then I went up here and I hit the U, stands for underline. Okay, number the ingredients in light blue. So what I did is I went to the end of the ingredients and I just wrote the number, like 6. Okay. This one would be 7, for example. All right. So it says to highlight it in light blue, right? No, it says to number them in light blue. So I need to take that green highlight off. So I'm going to highlight over it and I'm going to click none. Okay, but while it's still highlighted right here, I'm going to go and change the font color because it said blue. So I'm going to pick like that blue. Okay, 6. Now I need to do it for 7. Okay, I'm going to go up here, hit the highlighter, hit none. And I'm going to go to the text color and I'm going to change it to my blue shade. I'm not sure which one I had. Let's try that one. Okay. Now it says in part E, go to the step-by-step directions and number the ingredients in light blue in the order they appear in the directions. Let's see, are they in the same order? So I did number 1. I found the egg. The egg up here is number 1. The egg down here is number 1. So let me change it to my same light blue color so I'm keeping everything the same. Okay, light blue. I found number 2, and I wrote 2, so let me change it back to this blue color. Okay, let's go number 3, vegetable oil. So right here, I'm going to enter, I'm going to do 3. Okay, and then it's the wrong color, so I'm just highlighting it, going up here, and changing it to the right color. So you'll do that throughout the recipe. Now, step 4, we're almost at the end, almost done. So, step-by-step directions or this narrative contain a lot of important information for preparing a recipe. Highlight the pans and dishes needed in light orange. Okay, so I saw I needed a large bowl, a medium bowl, and muffin pans. So I just highlighted and went up and chose orange on my highlighter. Bold the size of the pan or dish. I see large and I see medium. Okay, so I highlighted that and then I went to the top to the B, that stands for bold. Highlight. C, highlight the cooking temperature in light pink. It's right here. Preheat the oven to 400 degrees. So go to your highlighter. D, highlight the special instructions in light blue. Special instructions is like, what are the helpful tips and the hints that they're going to give you? Like, what are they telling you to try to help you out with this recipe? Okay. And then the last piece is E, highlight the yield and change the font color to red. In this recipe, the yield is at the bottom. You might be asking, well, what does yield mean? So, yield. Similar to a yield sign, some of you are young drivers with permits. A yield is the quantity that you can make out of a recipe. And it reminds me of a yield sign in traffic because when you come to a yield sign, you have to slow down. You might even come to a stop if there's, traffic coming. So eventually you're going to have to come to a stop on the number of muffins you can make. You have to come to a stop on the number of cookies you can make, on the number of servings of soup you make. So the yield is how many cookies do I get? How many muffins? How many bowls of soup? How many people does this feed? Okay, that's the yield. So the yield on this recipe is at the bottom. We highlighted it and we changed it. I'm going to choose a better red. Let's choose a real bright cherry red. Right there. Red. Okay, so you guys are going to do the same thing, but I gave you 2 other practice recipes. So you have the blueberry muffins, and then when you scroll down, you'll find one more. And I did give you the directions side by side, so you don't have to scroll back up because that's kind of annoying, okay? So fill those out for me and let's get them turned in and check them. All right, thanks.